Hello, here we are. I'm glad to see you guys, or to see that you guys are here. We're going to start today by reviewing the concepts that we talked about on Wednesday from Chapter 2 and Chapter 3. These concepts are the things that you'll really need to know, both for the next quiz, for test number 1, and for the final exam. So, starting with ethics, remember we talked about the fact that ethics are the moral principles or values that govern the conduct of an individual or group. Generally, those ethics come from morals. Those morals can be good or bad, but they are generally the foundation for ethical behavior. So you'll see a question on the final, at least it's been on there the last few semesters. What is the difference between ethics and morals? And hopefully you'll be able to answer that based on this information. You also need to know about green marketing, and most especially important that green marketing is something that a company does in order to minimize the negative impacts of its business on the environment. Okay, the customers may pay more for a company that uses green marketing for their products. It's important that these companies educate the consumers and let them know that they are operating in such a way that to be considered green marketers. So those are the things out of Chapter 3, just a couple of concepts. Then we talked a little bit from Chapter 2. We began talking about strategic planning, and you need to know this definition of strategic planning. We talked about the strategic alternatives found in Ansough's Strategic Opportunity Matrix. You need to make sure that you got these down and know that these are part of the Ansough's matrix, because we'll be talking about another matrix soon. Okay? So first of all, you need to know market penetration. That's when a company tries to increase their market share among the customers they already have. Market development is trying to attract new customers to those products that they already have. Product development is when a company will try to create new products for the market, for the customers they have. And diversification is when a company will try to introduce new products into new markets. Okay, so for example with McDonald's, when they're trying to use the market penetration strategy, they'll try to sell Happy Meals using Disney movie promotions. Okay, maybe they'll come up with a new product for their present market, such as salads and McWater. Okay, they may try to use market development, which means opening restaurants in China or in other new markets where they don't have stores. And diversification would be something totally different, like a line of children's clothing that would be sold in department stores. So new customers, brand new product. All right, so going on to more from Chapter 2. And first we need to know and talk about this definition of strategic business units. Okay? Now, strategic business unit is what a large corporation will divide themselves up into. For example, when I was with Speedo, Speedo was owned by a company called Warnaco. And Warnaco had Speedo and other swimwear companies in their swimwear SBU. They also had an SBU that did women's foundations, bras and panties, that sort of thing. And we had a third SBU that was Calvin Klein designer jeans and other Calvin Klein licensed goods. So 3 different SBUs, all with different markets, at different missions. We all had control over our own resources. So Speedo was operated as its own company, even though it was underneath that Warnaco umbrella. So we had control over our employees, our cash flows, that sort of thing. Different competitors for each one of those SBUs. Obviously, Speedo swimsuits, our big target market was young ladies, teenage girls. And we had different competitors. We had Nike Swim, we had Tier, we had Arena out there. Where our foundations business, Warner Bras, competed against other bra companies or brands such as Olga and other competitors out there. So totally different businesses, totally different competitors, really independent business plans from each SBU. So other companies say Kraft Foods is broken into a bunch of different SBUs. PepsiCo has 3 major SBUs, Frito-Lay's, Quaker, and their beverage SBUs, which encompasses many, many different beverages. So each SBU is operated separately. but they all will have their own strategic plans. So remember, strategic planning, the managerial process of how we are going to use those resources that we have to maximize our success out there in the environment. So we talked about the Ansoff Strategic Opportunity Matrix. Now we're going to talk about the Boston Consulting Group's Portfolio Matrix. And what this is for the large corporations like a Warnaco or a PepsiCo that has many different SBUs, they have what they call their business portfolio of SBUs. And just like if you're an investor and you want to make sure that you have a diverse portfolio of investments, you can spread your risk around and try to balance that risk out, these big corporations try to have SBUs in different stages and different aspects of their life cycle, and hopefully have different needs and wants and requirements for those company resources. So what we're looking at here, we've got 4 different classifications. First, we have stars. Okay, a star is a fast-growing market leader. It has high market share in a growing market. Okay, stars have really large profits, but they also need cash to finance their growth and maintain their market share. Okay, so an example of a star, say let's use Apple for some of these examples. Example of a star would be their iPhones or their iPads. Okay, both big growing markets, cell phones continuing to grow. The iPad and compact computer market is getting huge. Both of those products are market leaders, so they would both be considered stars for Apple. Okay, next classification also has high market share, but in a low growth market. Okay, so the market does not have new people coming in, it's not growing, it's kind of maintaining or maybe even going downwards in the number of people that we have to sell to. Okay, this classification is called a cash cow. Now, cash cows are great. They've got lots of market share, they generally have lots of cash flow, they can be used to help finance other SBUs and to just help the company grow in general. So an example of a cash cow for Apple would be their laptops. Okay, they have a high market share with their laptop, but it's a low growth market. Laptop market is not growing, in fact it's probably shrinking. So it's nice to have a high market share, but if the market is not growing, you're not going to be able to continue to make money from that product. Okay, our third category is called, there's 2 popular names for this category. It can be called a question mark, also can be called a problem child. And this type of SBU has a low market share, but it's in a high growth market. Maybe it's a new product, a new SBU for you out there. Other people are out there with a lot of the market share, but you've got that market that's growing quickly. It's a high growth market, lots of new people, lots of new customers, lots of potential for business in this. So question marks generally are the biggest decision for most companies. What do we do with an SBU that's a question mark? Do we throw a lot of cash at it, hope that it becomes a star? If not, then it's probably not going to be successful. For Apple, I think an example of a product would be Apple TV. Okay, the TV market's still pretty strong, still things going on, but Apple TV has a very low share of that market. Is it something they want to put a lot of money into, try to build up that market share, or is it something that they're going to let go? That's yet to be seen. Okay, the final classification for the Boston Consulting Group's portfolio matrix is called the dog. And that's an SBU with low market share in a low growth market. Okay, generally companies, businesses in this type of a situation will be divested or just closed down and will leave the market. Okay, so there's your 4 classifications. Now, along with the 4 classifications, we have strategies, and there's actually 4 strategies that are used. So if you've got an SBU that's a star, for example, well, we can just hang on to that. We can see what happens. Hopefully the market keeps growing. We continue to have good market growth. So we're going to use the strategy of holding on, holding that SBU. Okay, the first strategy pictured here is called the build strategy. And this means that we're going to put our money and other company resources into hopefully building up that SBU. Generally, this strategy is used with question marks or problem children that have potential to be stars. Okay, our hold strategy, like I said, used with cash cows. Our third strategy that's used with these three classifications would be to harvest this BU. Okay, then really this is appropriate strategy for all classifications except for stars. So say you have a good cash cow, for example, using my Speedo Warnico example. Speedo was a cash cow. We made a lot of money. They didn't have to put a lot of money into us. We just kept going and going. We had really high market share in a market that tended to grow. It was great at the end of the year. We'd have all these profits. Everybody was happy. But all of a sudden those profits would disappear because they would harvest those profits and use them for one of the other SBUs that perhaps wasn't doing so well at the time. Maybe the Calvin Klein designer division needed a good infusion of cash to be able to buy fabrics and pay for their license for the next year. They would harvest SBU of Speedo to help pay for some of those expenses from that Calvin Klein SBU. So that's how that strategy would be used. Finally, our fourth strategy is to divest the SBU. Just get rid of it, sell it off, or perhaps just shut it down. And again, this is generally used with dogs, but it can also be used with a question mark, a problem child. You decide that maybe this company has potential, but we don't want to have to put our resources into it. We're probably going to try to sell it off and let someone else try to develop it. Okay, next up, our next concept that we need to discuss is the marketing plan. And your marketing plan is the basis for all your strategies and decisions. Small companies have a marketing plan. Large companies with different SBUs have marketing plans for each SBU. So here's some of the reasons that we write a marketing plan. It gives us a basis for comparison between actual and expected performances. It provides clearly stated activities to work toward common goals. So we all kind of know we're on the same page. We all know what we need to do in order to reach our goals and be successful for that season or that fiscal year. Okay, a marketing plan serves as a reference for the success of your activities. So you can kind of look back, make sure that everything's going the way you wanted it to, what you expected it to do. Okay, it'll help you examine the outside marketing environment, and it will allow you to enter a marketplace with new products or a new company with the awareness that you need to be successful. Okay, here's the marketing plan elements, and we're going to go through these one by one. We won't get through all of them today, but just probably through the first three. Okay, we have our mission statement. We do a situation or SWOT analysis to kind of decide whether our product is going to be successful out there. We come up with objectives, and then we develop our marketing strategy, target marketing. We work on our marketing mix. Remember those 4 P's, the product, the place, the promotion, and the price. And then finally, we'll implement our plan, we'll evaluate what we've done, and we'll try to put some controls on it to make sure that we can be successful. Okay, so first of all, let's talk about our mission and our mission statement. So the mission statement answers the question, what business are we in? Okay, it's based on benefits sought by our customers. So a good mission statement is customer-centered. It doesn't really talk about what our business can do. It talks about what our customers need and how we're going to fulfill those needs. And also it can analyze existing and anticipated conditions of the environment that our business is working in. Let's look at a couple mission statements just to give you some examples. First of all, one of my favorite products, Ben & Jerry's. Okay, they have a 3-part mission statement, and as it states, it guides our company forward. Okay, they have a social mission, a product mission, and an economic mission. But if you read through these, you'll see that they're all based on what their customers want and what their company can do to help their customers and society in general. Okay. So again, here's some questions that this mission statement should answer. What is our business? Who is our customer? What do these customers want? What do they value? And what should our business be? Here's another example, the Southwest Airlines mission statement. The mission of Southwest Airlines is dedication to the highest quality of customer service, delivered with a sense of warmth, friendliness, individual pride, and company spirit. So this mission statement, you see it on the wall in many businesses that you walk into. Each business needs to have a well-defined mission statement to help everybody stay on the same page and remember what you're there for. All right, our next marketing plan element that we're going to discuss is our situation or our SWOT analysis. Okay, now a situation or SWOT analysis helps us identify our competitive advantages. So what is a competitive advantage? Well, it's a set of features a company and a products have that are perceived by the customers, by that target market, to be significant and superior to the competition. So basically that competitive advantage is why people buy your product instead of your competitors. Okay, now there's three different types of competitive advantages. There's a cost competitive advantage, a product and service differentiation, or a niche or niche competitive advantage. So let's look at each one of these. Here's some sources of your cost competitive advantage. Basically that just means you can produce your product, you can run your business at a cost advantage to any of the other competitors out there. Maybe you can get inexpensive raw materials, maybe you've got the best material or best machinery out there, really efficient plants, you can control your overhead costs. These are all ways that companies can create and maintain a cost competitive advantage. Okay, here's some sources of those cost reductions, ways that these companies can also continue to keep their costs down and keep that cost competitive advantage. Now that second competitive advantage, when we talk about product and service, basically this just means you have a better product than anybody else out there. Okay, maybe you have a really good brand name that has great positive connotation. When people hear your brand, they think it's a good product, a good strong brand. Maybe you have a great dealer network. You know, say you're a Ford dealer out there in the American or the car network. You know, you've got those strong dealers, they're doing lots of good things out there, maybe better than anybody else. That can give you a great advantage. Okay, you have a reliable product, a good image, really good service. All these things are things that people will buy your product for, give you that competitive advantage. Okay, now niche competitive advantage. This can be a small company that just wants to try to target a very small geographic area and sell their product very well within that area. Maybe you have a product that's very specialized and you try to get just that very small portion of business, the people that might be interested in a product like that. You try to get good market share out of that small number of people. So those are your three types of competitive advantages, and we're going to use the SWOT analysis to try to identify these competitive advantages. So the situation or SWOT analysis is what we're going to talk about now. Now as you see, there's two different types of things that we're going to look at. We have internal aspects of the SWOT analysis, which are your strengths and weaknesses of your company. And when you're doing those strengths and weaknesses, you only look at your own specific company. You don't look out in the market, you don't see what competitors are doing, you don't look at other products. You're just, when you're doing the S and the W part of this analysis, it's strictly based on your company and what your company can do. So when we talk about your strengths, those are the things your company can do well. Weaknesses, what your company can't do well. Now the second part of our SWOT analysis, the O and the T, opportunities and threats, are based on the external environment. Okay, so those are things that we look outside and say, hey, here's an opportunity. We have a product that no one else in the marketplace has. That could really give us a competitive advantage and allow us to be successful. Or perhaps there's threats out there. You have a great product, you really like it, but hey, there's a lot of other products out there in the market like that. Okay, so threats are those conditions in the external environment that will make it hard for you to be successful and to accomplish your marketing plan. Okay, so important to know that the S, the W, the strengths and weaknesses are internal, based on your company only, and the O and the T are external, based on those outside environmental things. But you'll go through the things that you do well, the things that you don't do so well. You go through the things that are out there in the external environment, those opportunities and threats, and hopefully by doing that, you'll be able to identify at least one competitive advantage for your company, if not perhaps more than one. So if that's the case, then you've probably got a good product and a good opportunity to be successful. All right. The last thing I want to talk about today is the third part of your marketing plan, and these are what's called marketing objectives. And these are basically what you want to accomplish with your marketing plan. Okay. Now, in order to be a good marketing objective, they must be realistic, they must be measurable, you must be time specific, and you must compare to a benchmark. So for example, you see the objective there is to increase sales of Purina brand cat food by 15% over 2009 sales of 300 million. Okay, so you look at this. Well, is it realistic? It depends on what kind of growth you're having. Is 15% realistic? It's probably in the ballpark for that type of a market. So it meets that first criteria. Is it measurable? Can you actually measure your sales? Well, of course you can. Your sales, your revenue can be measured based on how much product you go through during that sales season. Here we're time specific. You've got 2009 sales. This is probably your objective for 2010. And you compare to that benchmark. That's your 2009 sales of 300 million. So this would be considered a good, solid marketing objective. All right, that's all we're going to talk about today. Hopefully I will post these PowerPoints so you can check them out. If you don't want to listen to my voice, you can just go through and study what you think are the important aspects of this lecture. Again, we will cover this information on quiz number 2, which will be next Wednesday in class. You'll also see some of this stuff when you're working on project 1.1 with your group. If you have any questions, comments, please email me at my Gmail address. And otherwise, I will see you on Wednesday. Thank you very much.